You see them everywhere, right? E-scooters, e-bikes. They've totally changed how we get around our cities. They're super fast, super convenient, but that speed comes with a big responsibility. And guess what? The rules of the road for riding them have just gotten a major update. So let's get into it. So you're about to hop on your e-scooter and zip down the road? Well, hold on just a second. Because the rules have changed, and what you thought was okay yesterday, it might not be today. And here's the big one, the absolute game changer. There is now a mandatory theory test for every single person who wants to ride an e-scooter or an e-bike on public roads. Yep, you heard that right. The days of just buying one and hitting the pavement are officially over. Okay, so a new rule. What does that actually mean for you, the rider? Let's break it all down. What's changed, why it changed, and how it's going to affect the thousands of us who use these things every single day. All right, first things first, let's make sure we're all on the same page. We're talking about personal mobility devices, or PMDs for short. But really, the focus here is on the powered ones, your e-scooters and e-bikes. Why? Well, because they're faster, they're heavier than a regular bike. And that's why this new rule is zeroing in on them, all in the name of safety. Now, this whole thing didn't just pop up overnight. Not at all. For the last few years, we've seen a pretty worrying spike in accidents involving these PMDs. That trend got officials thinking, and that brings us to June 30th, the day the mandatory theory test became official. The goal here is pretty simple, really. Make sure every single rider knows the traffic rules and how to ride safely before they even get on the road. But you might be wondering, a whole test? Was that really necessary? I mean, why couldn't things just stay the way they were? Well, let's dig into the specific safety problems that basically forced this change. Just take a look at this. This picture says it all, doesn't it? You've got buses, cars, cyclists, pedestrians. Everyone is crammed into the same space. When our roads are this crowded, safety can't just be an option. It has to be the absolute #1 priority. And this wasn't just a gut feeling. The decision was backed by some hard facts. There was a clear rise in accidents. We saw a lot of complaints about reckless riding. And frankly, a lot of riders just didn't know the basic traffic laws. And you've got to remember, these devices are faster and heavier than a regular bike. Without some proper knowledge, they can be a real hazard. Look, it's really important to get this straight. This was never about punishing riders. It's about something much, much bigger. The whole idea, as the authorities put it, is to create a safer and more harmonious shared space for everyone. It's about building a better, more considerate road culture for all of us together. Okay, so we get the why. But what about the what? What's actually on this test, and has it been making any difference so far? Let's take a closer look. So, the path to riding legally is now a pretty straightforward 3-step journey. First, you've got to study. There's a handbook with all the essential traffic rules and good-to-know conduct. Step 2, you have to take and, of course, pass the mandatory theory test. And only then do you get to step 3, riding safely and legally, knowing you're doing your part to make the roads safer for everyone. So are people actually doing it? Oh, you bet. The response was immediate. In just the first few weeks after this thing went live, more than 2,000 riders had already hit the books, taken the test, and passed. Just like that, they were fully certified to be on the roads. And get this, what's really incredible is the success rate. We're talking a 90% pass rate on the very first try. That's huge. It shows that people aren't just going through the motions. They're actually taking this seriously. They're studying the material. They're understanding the safety rules, which, at the end of the day, is the entire point. You know, this whole thing really opens up a much bigger conversation about the future of our cities. It's that classic balancing act, isn't it? How do we get all the awesome convenience of new tech without sacrificing public safety? Let's just look at the two sides of the coin here. For the rider, these PMDs are a total game changer, right? They make short trips a breeze, you save time, you save money. But then for the public, it's all about safety. We want to reduce accidents and make sure everyone, whether they're riding or walking, feels safe. This new test is really trying to be the bridge that connects those two worlds. So the ultimate goal here, the dream scenario, is a true win-win. Riders get to keep their super convenient way of getting around, but now they're doing it with a lot more awareness. At the same time, pedestrians and drivers can feel a little safer sharing the road with them. And hopefully, all together, we create a more respectful, more orderly road culture. That's the vision. And that leaves us with one final big question to think about. As our cities get smarter and more crowded, education is a great first step. But looking down the road, with technology constantly changing and new ways to get around popping up, is a theory test the final answer? Or is this just the very beginning of a much longer journey? A journey of constantly adapting our rules, our roads, and even how we think about sharing space in the future.